We are approaching the last few years we have to buy our freedom. Soon, you will own nothing and be happy. I have to admit this was a bit dramatic, but it is somewhat true. Before thinking to yourself, what the hell are you talking about? Just hear me out and let me explain. You may or may not have heard about something called the Great Reset somewhere on the internet.
The Great Reset?
The Great Reset.
The Great Reset.
And there's a lot of conspiracies about what it may or may not be. Some people believe that the intention behind the Great Reset is something good and that will make the world a utopian, better place to live in, while others believe that this is done for pure evil and that this is going to transform our world into a dystopia, kind of like George Orwell's book 1984. Even though there's always two sides to everything in this world, the truth sometimes lies somewhere in the middle. Now, key word, sometimes. However, in this video, you'll probably figure out where I stand. Now you're wondering, what is the Great Reset and what are you talking about? The Great Reset is the name of the 50th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, also known as WEF, which is an international organization for public-private cooperation, also known as a government lobbying organization. The Great Reset has an agenda with three main components. Number one is fairness, number two is equality and sustainability, and number three is using the fourth industrial revolution to support public good, especially by addressing health and social challenges. Now, first impression, this sounds great, right? It sounds like a bunch of individuals just trying to make the world we live in a better, more fair place, right? Well, that's what I thought until I learned who the members of the WEF are. The largest and wealthiest organizations, 1,000 of them to be exact. Some of the companies that are in the WEF are none other than Apple, Amazon, Facebook, now known as Meta, Goldman Sachs, Pfizer, and Moderna. So you can see the amount of influence and control this organization can have. Now, before I give you my opinion or the solution for all this, let me answer your question of what does that have to do with crypto? Well, let me explain. Crypto, Web3 or blockchain technology is going to be the most crucial factor in helping us keep whatever freedom we may have left. Even though it's definitely not the only thing we could do to preserve our freedom, it's definitely one of the most important ones. I will go into more details about how crypto can be the solution right after I dissect the most important one of the 3 points that I mentioned earlier, and that is the fourth industrial revolution, also known as the digital transformation. The fourth industrial revolution, aka 4IR, will lead to the fusion of our biological, physical, and digital identities, according to Klaus Schwab, the chairman of the WEF. Sounds nice, doesn't it? I cannot help but translate this into three things, and that is CBDC, also known as central bank digital currency, digital identities, and social credit systems. Each one of these three acts as a stepping stone towards the other one. Even though the WEF is advertised as having the goal of inclusivity, sustainability, and resiliency, I see the goal as authority, control, and power. And these three words can be combined into one big word, and that is government. Guys, real quick, if you're enjoying this video, please make sure you like it, subscribe to this channel, and share it with a friend who might benefit from it. Now back to the video. Now let's break down the first step, and probably one of the scariest ones, and that is central bank digital currencies, also known as CBDCs. Countries like the US, Australia, Canada, and some European countries are working on developing their own CBDC. While the goal of Bitcoin and crypto in general is decentralization, the goal of the CBDC is the exact opposite. Programmable money that is controlled by one entity, and you guessed it, the government. This gives governments the power to restrict purchases and also to record every transaction that happens onto a central ledger. A small detail you guys should remember is that Bitcoin has its transactions recorded on a public ledger that is immutable, aka unchangeable. See how it's the exact opposite? Can you imagine wanting to travel and visit family, but you are unable to, all because you are restricted from purchasing a plane ticket just because you were late on paying your tax payment? Obviously, you should do everything legally and pay your taxes on time and all that, but do you see the issue with that? If this does not scare you enough, well, wait till you hear the rest. CBDCs will act as a stepping stone towards step 2. Digital identities. It is no secret that what happened in the past 2 years was a catalyst that sped up the process of us living in the digital world we currently live in. It also opened the door towards something called a digital identity, which was originally disguised as something called the flu shot passport. Now, this digital identity can make us just like CBDCs, programmable and controlled by a central authority. This can restrict you from going to work, going to social events, traveling, and who knows what else can come with this. All of this will be used for safety, convenience, and fairness. And if this wasn't enough to get people on board, fear is always an option. This lays the foundation to step number 3, and that is a social credit system. Just like the Chinese social credit system, this will incentivize, or should I say manipulate, people into changing their behavior, and they do that by ranking citizens' trustworthiness. It can include anything from your financial history all the way to your criminal background. Obviously, a very good score will lead to a much easier life, but the flip side of that is that any mistakes you do will be haunting you forever. Now, the issue with all this is that what is considered good or bad or trustworthy or not is all determined by one entity only. And finally, this is where crypto comes along. You know, the good old-fashioned decentralized one. It doesn't matter if you have 1 or 1,000 bitcoins. If you have them stored on a decentralized wallet or on your own wallet where you own your own private keys, no one can stop you from spending them. No one can stop you from sending it abroad to your friends, to your family, whatever it is. You have control over it, and only you. You see where this is going? A deeper layer into this would be using privacy coins such as Monero, which hides the transaction on the blockchain in order to protect users' anonymity. Since we are currently in a crypto bear market, or even worse, a global recession, this might be your last chance for you to pick up cryptos at a discount or at cheaper prices. If you don't want to do this for the sake of financial gain, then at least think of doing it for the sake of financial freedom. Literally financial freedom. Now, I'm definitely not saying that you should go all in on crypto. We are in a very shaky time and we don't know where the market can go. In fact, the markets can keep on dropping for the next few months or even a year. But the long-term goal has not changed. Dollar cost averaging or buying a bit of crypto every few weeks or every month or so can be the best decision you make in your whole entire life. And your life somewhat depends on it if you really think about it. The WEF will always have the same goal, and that is control. And you and I, we still have the same goal, and that is financial freedom. So from now until a few months or even a year or two, we have the opportunity to make money, invest that money into cryptos we believe in and we believe are going to liberate us and free us from the potential restrictions that will most likely come. Now, big disclaimer, I am not advising you to go out and buy anything, any investment whatsoever. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm also not encouraging you to go ahead and break any laws. Obviously, do everything legally, but it's very important for you to have this control over your freedom, because a lot of times, even when we're doing everything right, governments tend to overstep and try to take away what's rightfully ours. So all I want for you is to be ready when that day comes.